Good morning, everyone. Today is September 1st, and this is a meeting of the Master Plan Committee. We'll open the meeting at 8:37 and do a roll call of the members present. Karen Clement.
Present.
Bill Rideout.
Present.
Don Hayes.
Present.
And I am Kim Craven. First order of business, I had sent around and Karen had sent around the minutes from August 20th. Did everyone get those minutes?
I'm just reading them now. Could I have like 2 minutes?
Of course.
All right. Kim thought she had sent them out to us earlier. Did anybody else get them? Because I didn't. So I just want to see if you guys got it, and I just didn't for some reason.
No, my first one I got was at 6:46 this morning.
So was that from Kim then?
Yes.
I don't think I sent mine out that early.
Oh, there's two versions. Okay.
It's the same document, just sent by two different people.
Okay. All right, I'm fine with it, but I'll wait for anybody else.
I'm just looking at it too. I hadn't seen it earlier. I've got Karen's copy from this morning. And I have no changes.
I could have a motion to
All right.
accept.
I have a move that we accept the minutes as written for the August 20th, 2021 master plan meeting.
And a second.
I will second the motion.
All in favor? Karen?
I
Bill?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I am in favor as well, so that motion carries. So I sent everyone the latest documents a little bit earlier. Did everyone receive that via email?
Yes.
Okay. I've compressed all of the pictures so that we can email it back and forth. It's just about 4.5 megabytes now. So hopefully that doesn't get caught in the spam filters. So just sort of discussing what needs to happen. First, yesterday afternoon, Beth sent over comments from David Chanel. Did everyone receive that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so we have that document. We have to discuss the implementation and the process section today, which I had thought would take up a good amount of our time, but I think we need to go through the ZBA comments and then go over the process and the implementation. Is that okay with everyone?
Yes.
Okay. So I will go ahead and share my screen. Okay, can everyone see this document?
I can.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, wonderful. So I'm going to go through with what's happened here is we went through and did updates. This is comments from someone additional to what we had already gone through. So anything that is Eric's or Beth's, I'm going to ignore and just go to the ones for David. Is that okay?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. So review. Lori's waiting in the waiting room. Oops, I just missed one here. Okay, so this is just a format, which I think that we've already corrected with dollar signs and the commas in the tables, but I can go through and double check on that. The contrast in these two charts make it difficult to read. Suggest changing the percent numbers to while. Whole numbers. I can change the font size maybe. Does anyone have any comments or thoughts on that?
He wants to change it to a whole number. These numbers
Yeah.
are so small that the fraction actually is important.
Right, that's what I feel, but I could
Yeah, I think the font would work better. I don't like changing it to a whole number.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a significant digit, effectively.
Yeah. Do you like the black or the white?
Black's not good.
Okay. So go back to white and I'll go up just a little bit more. Is that sizing making a difference?
Did you go bigger?
I did.
It's, yeah, I mean.
I did very incremental.
It's still
Yeah, or 10.
difficult to read.
I was gonna say try 11. I think 11
You think
will still
11?
fit in that. Yeah.
You know, I think I can even go 12.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
12. That's sort of a standard.
Okay, so let me just write to change all to 12. Okay, so that takes care of that one, and I'll just not, rather than taking the time now, because I've got to do it in the other document. Okay, this one, so we've been saying right along that all of the formatting for the tables will happen at the ends, because as you change formatting throughout, it can affect the tables. I'm not sure why we would go right justified after we do all left. Commas are already in the updated document. Does anyone have a preference? So here we have everything left justified, but he moved this to right. We want to spend time on that one.
But that, again, it gets to the consistency. The chart above it is not formatted to the right. It's kind of like we should have consistent
Format to the left. Is that what you're?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to me, that was a little bit in the weeds, but let's see. The next one needs to be clarified. Gotcha. Okay. Fixed language. Yes, so just rent, it should be is in line. Let's keep going and find Dave's. Okay. That is his same comments about the tables, which we're doing. I saw Lori. Is she still here? Oh, there she is. Hey, Lori, just so you know, we're just going through Dave Chanel's comments, so we're skipping over the ones that we resolved. Beth sent the comments on the same one that we had reviewed last meeting, so we're not ignoring what
Okay.
she sent. We've just already resolved it.
Yep. Okay. Good morning, everyone.
Yeah.
Morning.
All right, so here, this is just a comment about Sam Thorpe. Is that important for the group to include, or are we just taking Dave's comment as a fun fact?
Kim.
Yes.
I think Sam Thorpe is part of our history in town.
I don't see any reason not to put the who's who comment in there.
Okay.
Hmm.
So we'll add this comment.
Is for
Dave, if they
towns-
want it, fine.
Yeah, I think that's kind of nice, actually.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad he pointed this out. I thought that we had the highway garage in there, but I agree that should add. And I'm just gonna write facilities. Put in there. Okay, the next one from Dave. Oops. Should be qualified as this relates just to the historic district and not the town's bylaws. All right, so this is on the 3 bylaws are overseen.
Right. He just wants to say historic district.
Historic,
bylaws.
yeah, okay.
Kim, if you go back to that, I don't think that's a sentence, the way it was typed in.
You needed another comma there. At least
Okay.
I didn't see it.
I've got to merge and compare without messing up the full document at some point after this. Okay, so let me just make a note here to be consistent with check doc for consistency. I think that's a valid point. It's just on the how we have some do not have all of the dollar amounts spelled out, so we can rectify that.
Kim, just to let you know, I'm going into a class, so I have you on my iPad. I'm going out of laptop now.
Okay,
Kim, just for,
yes,
in the menus up above, you've got show markup. To the left,
yeah,
not the show markup, below that one, the one below. Sorry. Yeah. You can pick just, date.
the by person, yeah.
Yeah. I think you have to,
Oh, I gotta unclick all the others.
little,
It's the only thing that's helpful. I'm actually gonna leave Eric's up there because
Okay.
I want to make sure that they're not
okay,
in
you don't want to lose them.
conflict.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's just kind of to see what the building inspector said and what,
Mhm. Yeah.
but I
Yeah,
agree, taking
okay.
Beth's off will make it easier. Okay, if this is the new law that you refer to later on, then you should define it such as MGL 48, the law, or some other term. Okay. I don't see a problem with doing it that way. Does anyone?
Nope, that's fine.
No.
Okay. It's not letting me to reply now to his comments.
Oh. You need to put your name.
Yeah, I'll just put a whole new one.
Yeah.
Oh, very strange. Okay. So all three of those are basically the same, so that we're showing
Mhm.
that that's the state law there. It's the same, just referencing all the new law. So an umbrella sentence, clearly. Oop. Sorry, my document's in the middle of saving. All right. Any experts in Chicago manual style? Dave's saying, why the brackets? If you want to indicate a cut in the sentence, it should just use 3 periods.
Using the 3 periods or ellipsis shows that it's a quote from the speaker, but it's not the complete sentence that was uttered. In other words, it shows a partial quote from a larger body.
Right. So are you saying just
Yeah,
the 3?
just the ellipsis. I think you're right. I don't
Okay.
think you need the square brackets.
Okay. All right, this looks like just some general wordsmithing as Townsend. Anyone have any thoughts about these areas where he is just doing a little wordsmithing?
That's fine, what Dave wrote.
Yeah. No problem with any of that either.
No.
Okay, let's get to the next one. Oh, here's some more. I very much like that addition. This one here.
Yeah.
Anyone have a problem with adding that sentence from Dave?
Just give me a minute. No, that seems to clarify the point.
Yes. Okay, his next one. So this is the area where we had added that all of this comes from FXM. So I think that Dave's comment would probably be covered by that introductory sentence that's now in this section. Unless he means something more from where does this come from, but if it's general.
So that was added before Dave got the draft. I mean, after Dave got the draft.
Correct. So, yeah, we had updated at our meeting, but Dave was still using the older version.
Okay, got it. Got it.
So I think that will take care of it. We can just, in the final version, if he notes that he still has a question, we can certainly address it.
Mhm.
I like this, aggressive. He says if you're going to review some of the right uses, that we just do all of them. I don't have a problem with that.
Nope.
Okay, this one here. Zoning bylaws refers to discretionary special permits in cases where a well-crafted site plan review bylaw could protect the town's interests and send clear signals to developers. Dave's comment is, this is very subjective and open to interpretation depending on the makeup of the board. Should craft an objective standard to be applied.
Maybe that's a note that can be added for the implementation where we think we're making the statements that we have received and again from FXM during it, and maybe the comment is during the implementation phase and then takes Dave's comment and put it in there, that it should, the implementation should include the objective standard. Something that's objective and measurable, and like rather than the open to interpretation.
Yeah, I'm just thinking.
And again, everybody can get creative, even when you put specifics in there, and maybe putting specifics in there makes it a little more easy to get around, because if you come across something that you didn't intend it or didn't include in there, they can say it's not included, so therefore I must be able to do it.
Right, and when I think of a special permit, it's just that it's a special permit, and so we might not have like a test case for it to be a standard.
Or maybe it's the during implementation, it's recommended that it's looking at specifics should be included. It's kind of like this is the outline of the document saying what needs to be done. We've had that input from the consultant. And
what if we did something like this, so this is our sentence, ZBA defers to discretionary permits. What if at the end of that we just write what Dave says. This could be subjective.
Mhm.
So in the future, an objective standard should be reviewed.
I
Sounds
don't think you can lose with just repeating what Dave says.
Yes, it's how to get it in there.
great idea.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
You can't argue then.
Well, and then
Yes.
zoning can create their own
Right,
standards.
Right.
That-
And again, if it's a change to zoning, it's going to go to be a bylaw change and submitted to town meeting anyway.
there you
right.
go. That works.
So this is a very interesting point. So the self-storage is a permitted use in the downtown commercial district.
Mhm.
And if there was a bylaw to say that this isn't permitted, it would be pre-existing non-conforming. On this one, I would say to Dave, yeah, I think we do. Because I think that's something that we want to prevent in the future, right? We don't want more of that in the downtown commercial district. So, you know, maybe someone would come up and argue spot zoning. I don't know.
And on the other hand, it's centrally located, and where they are now, it's kind of out of the picture. Granted, I guess if you go down, you know, Main Street and put up units, that would be a different story. But how do you, can you just say like the intersection next to the common would not be allowed that kind of building? Because the ones that exist now pretty much are easy to get to, and I think they're probably all being used.
Yeah, I think it's very popular. And while they're already there, it would have been wonderful if that could have been smaller houses with walkability to downtown. So I think that's the notion, right? So if we were to picture another spot that could potentially open up in the downtown, do we want that to be able to have more storage units? Probably not.
Now, the point, Kim, that you made a few seconds ago, basically what Dave's warning about there is the fact that since storage units are already a permitted use in the town, if you were to deny it somewhere else, then that's exactly the definition of spot zoning, which would open it up to legal issues for the town. So if there had been a bylaw in place prohibiting it, and then the storage units down there had been given a special permit or a variance to allow it, then it wouldn't leave the town open to have to deny future people in other locations to do the same thing. So it's tangled. We've allowed it once. The town's allowed it once. If you try and not permit it anywhere else where it would normally be legal, you're spot zoning and it's going to cause issues.
So how do we, you know, there's a potential for more of that to be developed, right?
Right.
But how do we prevent that at this point?
That would have to come under the auspices of the planning board, for instance, or without putting in a specific bylaw. If somebody comes to you with a particular lot in a particular area, that can be denied by something like the planning board or the zoning board without a bylaw having to be in place as the site being not suitable for that purpose, without running afoul of spot zoning issues.
But as it stands right now, anyone in the downtown commercial district could build more self-storage, even if it's right on Main Street.
But they would have to go through the permitting process for construction and for size. et cetera. So there's review process that exists already that could potentially prevent that from happening.
What do you think if we added something here about what the intent is here is to protect the kind of the vibe of our downtown area as being a bit historic and, you know, pleasing, and not that our current self-storage is not, but we don't want the main street to have that feel in our center.
Right. We don't want to accidentally create another Route 9 kind of scenario where
Right.
119 becomes nothing but businesses and industrial type things. But again, like Dave's kind of warning about, you may be unintended consequences by trying
Yes.
to prohibit it, a blanket prohibition to it.
So go ahead, Bill.
The one thing I see is this is a very generic suggestion. It's not really saying, oh, we should prohibit it. It's saying we should give it a second thought. And so the ways you stop it is really not specified. The town should consider whether this is the kind of use that belongs.
Right.
You know, does that mean bylaw? Does that mean planning board? It's not real, you know, it's just a generic.
Yeah, it's not.
Give it a second thought.
Yeah, like
Right.
you said, it's just a suggestion of, hey, maybe look out for this in the future.
Right. If it said the town should consider passing a bylaw to disallow it, then I think Dave's point would be valid.
Right.
But it's a little softer than that.
Yeah. Should we put something in there in addition, Bill, of like the town should review this permitted use and consider?
I don't see how that adds to your sentence. You know, it's just saying this is something to give further thought to. And that's the same as
Okay.
reviewing.
We'll just leave it be. And then the next one here refers to bed and breakfast mixed use by special permit. Dave's opinion is that it should be special permit as indicated, small lot size, and are on their own septic. B&B could tax an existing system with controls. Maybe he means without controls. So to incorporate his comment, would you think that if we did as of right, comma, with appropriate controls? Can you have it as of right with controls? Yes, if you meet certain criteria.
Can you repeat what your change is, Kim?
Sure, just bed and breakfast and mixed use are allowed only by special permit in Townsend. Yet these are types of uses that would normally be encouraged as of right in this semi-rural town center. I was going to add a comma with controls.
In the center, would you just eliminate that because bed and breakfast could be throughout the town, not just?
I like that. Oh, but this one's specific to downtown commercial. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Why not just get rid of the parenthetical phrase as a right?
Okay.
We do want to encourage them, and you know, Dave's not against that, but so, you know, this is a master plan document. It's not, you know, look for
Right.
ways that we can encourage it.
Right, and it's
And
You know,
saying as a
someone-
right is the implementation.
right. And if someone has a 3-bedroom home and they want to Airbnb it or bed and breakfast, it shouldn't matter whether the person lives there on a permanent basis or lives there for 3 nights out of 1 week. It's the same use. So, okay. His next comment. So well taken, but I think that we're not, we're just suggesting that it should be revisited, and maybe the revisiting says we need to keep it as it is. because of, groundwater protection and no sewerage. So,
Right.
yeah, I think that's fine to listen to what he said, but not necessarily act on that one, because that would
Yeah,
be done in
we are treading
revisiting.
lightly by just saying this should be revisited.
Yeah.
It's not, here's the bylaw that should pass or something like that.
Okay. All right, so Dave's saying here, he's not aware of the study reference. I can't imagine that a neighborhood would welcome the opening of a store or the most of the businesses listed here within the neighborhood as a matter of right. This actually, in our survey,
Mhm.
did show that.
Did you add the survey results to that?
It does say the survey showed.
Yeah.
Right, he didn't know what survey.
Oh, okay. Okay, he
Yeah.
thought it might have been some generic survey.
Yeah,
All right, I get it.
so we'll add that. This is just wordsmithing. This first one, I don't have issue with that. Does anyone else?
No,
Nope.
And then I like this wordsmithing that he did here. Okay, so accept those ones. And wordsmithing. Okay. So we say something on current practices or best practices. All right, so this comment, many of the town's minimum parking requirements are inconsistent with contemporary approaches to managing parking supply and designing attractive, safe commercial district. So I think it's just saying that the additional space from the 162 to the 200 is inconsistent with what most places are doing, and you can do it and still be attractive and safe. Do we need to redo that sentence? Or are you okay with how it stands now? We're looking at this comment right here. Do I need to bring everyone coffee?
no, we we're just trying to read through it and make it.
Yeah. Thing is, in your example, are you showing why the present thing does not allow attractive, safe?
Well, what it's saying is you can decrease the hard top basically and still have attractive and safe spaces to park. We could just take off this part of the sentence. What do you think of that? Just taking that off so that there's no ambiguity for folks reading it?
Yes, take it off.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be supported by the following argument.
I don't have a problem with this wordsmithing from him, do you?
No.
Hearing none, I'll keep going. Oh, and those were the ends of his comments. Okay, so a fair number of them, but nothing that I think is, going to stand in the way of progress. I can move those over now to the newest document that you have. If everyone's okay with that.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. All right, so the things that we need to work on that we don't have, that is the implementation. And I had started to make some notes and would like everyone to kind of weigh in. We had talked about the fact that in order to be successful, the master plan has to be continually looked at, that just sitting it on the shelf isn't helpful. So in thinking of some of the steps that could be taken, I thought that, that someone, and I don't know who that is, and maybe you all have some thoughts on that, but that somehow once the master plan is done, that owners are assigned to the action steps. So the owners might be planning board, it might be the energy committee, it might be zoning, it might be, board of selectmen, that the owners become entities and not individuals. So that if individuals change, we don't want the implementation to be affected. Does that make some sense?
I think so, but isn't the overall owner the planning board? Make sure that the master plan and implementation is being at least looked at as departments are making recommendations and changes
So
and doing their work.
yes, it does fall under the planning board, but the planning board doesn't have jurisdiction over some of the other entities. So just trying to think of how to incorporate it into operations. Does it need to be at another level to make sure that these topics, say quarterly, come up at department meetings, or that there's some mechanism to ensure that it's reviewed? And that's what I'm not sure what that is, right? It requires cooperation from a multitude of entities. The building inspector to weigh in on requests that he's getting, the water department to talk to departments about expansions or protective measures that they have in place. So it's really just thinking through of what is that mechanism and who oversees that. And Lori, I don't know if you can weigh in. I know you're multitasking there. Just wind up be able to hear.
So I'm a little confused, Kim. Are we talking about implementing the master plan, or are we talking about keeping the master plan up to date?
So I think it's both. It's implementation of the master plan,
Right.
and keeping it up to date.
Is this some, I mean, the state has this master plan process. Does it have a standard process for keeping it up to date? I didn't think that was part of the standard process.
Well, now implementation is a required chapter
Right.
in it. So, and I don't know of a standard process of what they advocate, but I think there has to be some sort of checks and balance or check-in about what's happening. Just as, as we're working on it, many things are changing at the state level and at the town level.
Right.
So the planning board can be responsible for figuring out the yearly or, twice a year updates, but who is going to be the one checking in to see where these action steps are sitting? So if there's something that should be done under the highway department, how does that get checked in on? maybe Beth, I'll shout out to you. Have you seen anything in your world of any other communities doing something that you think might be helpful to us?
I was just going to raise my hand. Well, as you know, that we've recently adopted the MVP HMP plan, and I have been pretty much grappling with organizing the implementation of that, the planning board and myself. So I wonder, I can't speak directly as to a best practice in terms of implementing the master plan, but I can say that my own personal experience I'm a resident of Pepperell, and they have a very active implementation committee and filtering into other committees. I'm working on the Climate Change Council there. And I also am familiar with Groton's process. There is an implementation committee. So it is a formed organization, active throughout the year. They attend meetings. It seems to be a good way to get the plan, in front of the public, not only the public, but all the town committees. So I don't know if there's a possibility of sort of merging the two efforts, an implementation committee for both. I don't know, just a thought.
And so who gives the authority of the committee? How do you get that committee approved?
That's a great question. I'm wondering if it's the Board of Selectmen or how. I can look into that for you, though. I can certainly look into that. I just know that I'm sitting on a Climate Change Council, and members of the Master Plan Implementation Committee will attend meetings. And it's a great way to kind of keep the flow going. This is 1.2 of the master plan. And can you address it? Can you look at it deeper? And away they go. So I'll look into that. I can find out for sure.
Okay.
With this implementation committee, if there are zoning changes or suggestions, then like 1 month or 1 week they meet with zoning, another week they meet with, I don't know, historical, or is that what they do? That's a lot.
I'm not sure how the structure goes, but I could just say from my own experience being on that committee, I know they attended that meeting. I certainly would be happy to look into that, because I know that they're in both towns, both in Groton and Pepperell, there are committees, and they are they'll attend, let's say, a finance committee meeting, and they'll have a particular list of items that were the finance committee's area, and they'll give it to the committee ahead of time. They'll have them look through the form, how are we doing, how are we progressing, and then at the meeting they'll get an update, and so they'll write that down. It'll be a report, very organized, very, very well done in both towns. So I know about Groton a little more than Pepperell, but yeah, so I can look into that.
Yeah, that would be great. I mean, I can see it being a lot of burden for a committee. I'm wondering if it needs to be a larger committee with liaisons. So,
Oh yeah.
Pretend if it was our committee, right?
Mm-hmm.
The four of us on the screen right now. Karen, you do open space and recreation. Bill, you do transportation. Dawn, you do climate. I do housing, and other people do water. Something in that realm might be a little more workable. And I'm not saying that it would be us, it would be someone. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But just saying that, people would have something to track instead of one or two people trying to track the entire document. And then exactly. I'm wondering, and maybe this is something we can find out as well, and maybe MRPC has some thoughts of how do you get it on topic for department meetings?
Yeah, I guess that would be a good question for the town administrator, and just sort of how can you work that into department meetings, because it's an excellent place to bring it up, Yeah,
sure. I mean, especially I think of some of the ones that are department based, like the water department, facilities, parks and cemeteries, the highway department, departments that have ongoing responsibilities, and then land use, for being able to talk about all of the different aspects of land use that are going on. Maybe quarterly, that becomes a topic at department head meetings.
That would be fantastic. And also, a work session, a regular work session at planning board or board of selectmen, or, at certain intervals, however you want to do it. But yeah, I mean, I think that would be very helpful, because having it on the agenda, at a regular schedule, you can prepare, for instance, if you're going to look at bylaws, you can start preparing for town meeting, any kind of amendments, and that process takes weeks to do. So I think that's really smart to have, not only department staff meetings, but, you could even at conservation meetings have a regularly scheduled work session for implementation. It's a great idea.
So Kim, we have, as Beth brought up, we have 2 examples of working implementation committees. Would it be worthwhile for you to just give a call to find out who the chairman is and talk to them about what is, let's not reinvent the wheel. Let's just steal.
Right.
Yeah.
We can steal from Groton and Pepperell all the time. We might as well do this.
Right.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah, I'm
exciting.
happy to do that. But certainly knowing what the will of this committee is and things that you think might be workable for our town really would help, shape that. And, I think the overall mechanism, can be described in a paragraph or 2. And then what I'm wondering from Beth and, Laura from planning board's perspective, and obviously the rest of you, should we in the implementation section take all of the recommendations and create a table with who it lands under?
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I think we should put it even in the text,
Yeah.
when we have, recommendations, who are we expecting to be the leads for it?
Okay.
And in some cases, it might be like a newly formed committee, but generally with CPA, there's a temporary committee to try to get it passed.
Okay.
But yeah, I think we have to add that both places. I think it'd be best.
Okay. And then the purpose section. Again, I think it's probably pretty general that we're fulfilling the mandate of the planning board, that this sets, sort of guidelines for future policy and practice by the town, that it adheres to the Massachusetts standards. Any other thoughts on what we should add into the purpose? And Beth, anything that you think we should steal from another town on that?
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'd have to reread it. What the purpose again would probably be similar to your introduction.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I haven't really looked at
Okay.
that. I know there's a lot of history in the first section, but yeah, your goals,
Yeah.
goals.
I mean, I think the master plan is also not just, what should the town government do, but it sets some of the desires of the town. And, that helps with, nonprofits writing, just saying, this is not just what the government should do, but this is some of the direction of the town in general. Which so for other groups can use that master plan and refer to it.
Okay. So Beth, if you know, or if you can email any of those leads from Pepperell or Groton, if you happen to have them. If not, I could just cold call the town, because it does make good sense to use what other people are using successfully as a mechanism. And then I can take the main document that we have now, update what we just discussed with David Chanel's comments, and then the water section. Don, I'm going to ask you, can you review that section and make it make sense? Make it, get it updated, call over to whomever you might need to sit in Todd's driveway if you have to.
Yeah, okay.
Whatever needs to be done on that. You know, our survey information is still sitting in there. The maps are plunked in there. There's still some questions that I had raised a number of months ago that I don't understand what the language is. So I'm not the right one to try to work on that. Still, that hasn't changed.
Okay.
Still not going to be helpful to that chapter.
Yeah. Okay. I had rewritten it earlier and tried to put things in the right places. So I'll continue with it and see.
Yeah, if you
see if there's
can
additional.
just kind of look at your notes of it and how it stands in the document now. If you mark that up, we can go off your chapter on that.
Okay.
And then Bill and Karen, you now have the newer open space recreation that the two of you can take a look at.
Okay.
And I'll trust either of your judgments. It's a little bit choppy, kind of pulling in some of the stuff that we had done and, you know, some of the older language. So, you know, it's got the right maps in there. It's got some information from the survey, but just needs a little bit of work and wordsmithing.
Okay.
And Kim, you want the water and open space and rec for the next meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So just send track changes to you, Kim.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I forgot one thing. I must apologize. I did receive one set of comments from Dave Fanioli that did not get to you. I'm wondering, I'm trying to find them right now. If I can get them, I'll send them over.
Dave, I see you're still there. Do you happen to have them handy and we can review them with you?
Oh, thank you.
I can look. I think I sent it to Beth. I can resend it right now.
Oh, okay, thank you. I'm trying to get into my email. I'm on the OneDrive. So apologies.
It was all minor stuff, though. A lot of it was wordsmithing type things, so nothing substantive, I guess.
Okay.
Let me see.
618. 040.
Okay, yeah, I got my copy. Let me see if I can forward this to Beth.
Do you want to just screen share, Dave?
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I guess I could do that if Hartley will screen share me.
Oh, thank you. That'd be great. Yeah, my apologies. I know I was on vacation and I knew I had one more thing I didn't send you.
I was crying the whole time.
Oh, sorry. Literally, yeah. I mean, Kim, the crew just got Dave's comments yesterday because I was like, oh my gosh, I get back from vacation and whoa.
That's okay. In my mind, we were still meeting on Friday, even though, like, I know that we were meeting today. It's one of those things that I just wasn't thinking right.
Well, thank you for accepting those.
Okay. Can you see my screen now, folks?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. Now let me see if I can find my comments. There weren't many. There was just a couple, like I said, minor things. It was one that, I think it was on page 17. There we go. Okay. No, page 11. Rent is in line.
Yeah, Dave got that one too. Dave,
Yeah.
The other Dave.
Yeah.
Dave Chanel.
Turkey Hills, plural.
Sounds good.
Oh, yeah, and this one only because I'm an amateur local historian sticks in my craw whenever I see it.
Uh-oh.
The harbor is not referred to the harbor because it was a place of refuge, comfort, or security. There's a small brochure that William Pate did local research on. And basically it refers to the European intent of the word harbor, meaning a place of business, commerce, industry.
So you'll have to clip that, or someone will have to send me that one so that I get that right.
I can send that to you, yeah.
Yep.
It's a minor thing, but it's like, it's the whole controversy that pops up every now and then about Townsend Harbor being a harbor for the slaves escaping on the Underground Railroad. And there's
Right.
no proof that that ever happened, and that it was a harbor for against Native American attacks against the settlers, which there's no proof that ever happened. So this guy did a lot of good research down in Boston and found that the original term Townsend Harbor predates almost everything by 50 to 75 years of what we ascribe to it as having its connotation. So I'll send that to Kim so she can look at.
Hey, I
Thanks.
think Dave suggested we just delete it because I don't want to. We don't need to wade into that controversy.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
and that's fine.
That's
That's
easier.
fine too.
Delete it.
We'll create enough of our own, right?
Yes, we have enough of our own controversy without adding the harbor controversy.
Let's see. Yeah, Sterilite in operation for more than 75 years. Not the.
Sounds good.
Another one. Just a nitpicky thing. You use a, not in front of historical, even though it doesn't sound right.
Especially since the sentence before had a.
Yes.
We switched from one to the other.
Pick one and go with it, but technically a, not and, is the proper usage there. And again, same thing here, a and.
Right. A for a if it's a vowel.
Yes.
Or and if it's a vowel, sorry.
Okay.
Oh yeah, consistency here with Springdale. Are you capitalizing the D everywhere or just somewhere?
Yep. That's a good comment.
Got it.
Oh, commuter line, rail line, minor nitpicky thing.
What page is that one, Dave?
Page 42. And I'm not even sure if rail line is hyphenated, so.
No, it's not. It's rail and then rail and then space and then line. But that's fine. Put in rail is fine.
Yeah, just to be more specific.
Yep.
And again, the same thing there. And again, line, I know what you're referring to, but border versus line.
Sure. Border's better.
I think I got all those.
I can resend this copy to Beth and she can get it to you if you'd like, but
Yeah,
like I
that'd be
said,
good, just to double check. No, it's it's helpful because, you know, when you're in something, you can't edit your own work.
Exactly. You
Possible.
can't see the forest for the trees, so. yeah.
You see what you thought, not what you wrote.
Exactly.
Okay, and I think that was all I had for that. That was my meager contribution.
Thanks, Dave.
Appreciate that. So there's one question that I have, and it's regarding the Fish and Wildlife in their purchases of properties in Townsend. So we had 9 properties with 425 acres. And I'm just wondering, some of the new purchases, I feel like that's not in there. Who's the best person, Beth, to get that updated information? Is that you? Or is that MRPC or?
I think Karen Chapman, but also maybe the assessors. I know that
Okay,
Fish and Wildlife made a purchase on West Meadow Road.
a road, right.
Yeah, so, and then
And
there was,
when we wrote this, that hadn't been complete, but now it's
Okay.
complete.
very
yeah.
recent, yeah.
Yes,
And North End Road, that's been complete. So
Okay.
those are 2 parcels that come to mind right away. Beside that, I guess we could, if you want to, I could take that on and talk to Jessica and in conservation, and we can work with the assessors and find, is it a total acreage you want, or just like parcel IDs, or that?
yeah, number of parcels. We had it at 9 and 425, but now I think you're right that it'll be 11. And West Meadow, was that like 90 acres? Am I remembering that correctly?
Those are
Yeah.
good size, yeah. So those are the 2 that come to mind. I mean, I can double check, but since I've been here, those are the ones I'm aware of.
Okay. Because I did, when I was reviewing it, I was like, oh wait, we gotta change that. So I did highlight it.
Great.
So I think,
Oh, yeah, I just thought of one. I think
oh,
there was another one. It was an A&R. And let me look that up for you, because that was
Okay.
about a year ago, an A&R, and I think it was on somewhere out near Gilchrist. So I will look that one up for you. I'll make a note of
Okay.
that.
That's
One more.
why we definitely need a cutoff date, because
Yeah.
that is
Right.
definitely a moving target.
Right.
And
Okay.
but those ones happened in between us writing that number and the August, our deadline that we imposed on ourselves. So I just want to make sure we have those right numbers.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then I think it's just, you know, if everyone can just read through the entire document as it stands and look for any updates and changes, so that next Wednesday we can have everybody's comments on the base document, finish up that purpose and implementation section, and we should be done.
Yay!
I hesitate to say that out loud, but we're, but plus the document says September on it, so we can't go past September anyhow. So,
Awesome.
okay,
All right, so
Any-
just send all changes to you then before the next meeting.
yes.
Got it.
And I'll keep putting them in that main document. And I can, once you send them to me, I'll put them in the main document with track changes so everybody can see the changes. So anybody that has changes, send them to me. I'll put them all in one document, track changes, so that we can look at them and vote on them next week.
Sounds good.
Okay. Anything else?
My turn.
It is.
I move that we close the meeting at 9:46 a.m.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.